Testing, testing.
You're watching SKST Radio.
Well, welcome to another episode of SKST Radio. We're talking one-on-one with Cammie, Grayson, and friends. And I have two new friends.
Hi.
Woo! I have Hamza and I have Chelsea.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. We have a director and a producer of the movie that we've screened pretty much already, The Institute, but now we have the guts of the movie here to tell us how they got started. So let's get started. Guys, first, Hamza, where'd you come from? How'd you get here?
I am, writer. I've been working on my stories for many, many years, and this is my feature debut. And thanks to a great team and some great performers, we're able to launch our feature known as The Institute.
Nice, nice. And Chelsea?
Let's see, how did I get here? Well, I am married to the writer-director.
Ah, lucky girl.
So, that, we met at a writers group originally, and I was kind of like more into theater and he was more into film, and we just have produced a few films and a few plays, and this is our first feature.
Wow. So, you know what? For this to be your first, I wouldn't have never guessed that this would be the first because this was so good. From
Thank you.
the plot, from the ending, the surprise ending, I called it. Even just when we interviewed your star last time, she was saying that she just wanted to be a part of the production crew and ended up being the star of the show. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So she was so good. So you guys, y'all did really well. So who did the actual casting? Was that you, Chelsea?
It was kind of a collaborative thing, and it was also we knew some of the actors beforehand, which was nice. It's kind of nice. It's nice to discover new talent, and it's nice to go back to people who you really just love their work and know their work, and bring it all together with a new ensemble.
Wow, it was pretty good. And so it was what, was 7 people total, or was it 7 or 8 total?
Well, in the ensemble, yeah, we had, the 6 couples and then the doctor, and then, of course, a few special guests, as you saw.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Okay, so let's get to the juicy part. So how did you come up with the actual script?
Well, me and Chelsea were working on having our first kid, and I started to think about these situations, started to think about the pressure, and I just kind of came up with this idea about how desperate people can be to have children, and how unfortunate it is for certain couples, and just kind of kept rolling with the idea, and that what would you do? How far would you go? And my juices started running, and I ran some ideas by Chelsea. She's always the first one that reads my scripts, and kind of workshopped it with some other people, got some stories, researched some friends, some family that had problems. And, that's all she wrote. Basically, just came up with the idea and honed it, about 10 drafts. And then we went to production.
Wow. Victorya, she just, spoke of the world of you guys. She really enjoyed working with you guys. And it's like, I felt like you all gelled, as a team. The way
she
you
did a
did
great
it.
job.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. So now, where did you find the location? It was awesome.
Well, we had a bunch of cool locations. We had the lake, all of it was actually shot in the Catskill area.
Okay.
So we were able to find the institute itself, the lake, the cave. I don't want to give out too many other locations,
Right,
but
right.
all of our kind of really nice, cool, original locations. Very, very unique. Even though like the lake's been done before, this particular region, this particular lake, this angle, this whole region had never been shot in a film. It's a very untouched
Wow.
area. The same with the institute building itself. And this cave, I think, had there's been a lot of events there. It's been used in certain features and certain projects, but never lit up like our lighting team had, treated it. So we were very blessed to find in the Hudson Valley all of these great locations, not too far from each
Wow.
other. Even the art by the Ballatory collection was of a long time. Obviously he was from New York City originally, but he was a long time Catskills resident. Unfortunately he passed in 2012. So his son allowed us to utilize the art from the Ballatory estate. So all of this was like a very upstate New York Catskills, that real feel of that region.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was great. It was great. I'm like, oh, I wish I could go. It was like paradise. It was so beautiful. And so,
Maybe you can, or if
Perfect.
you're ever in New York, maybe we can arrange for you to have some treatment there.
oh wow. Well, I don't know about the treatment, but
Yeah, I don't know what kind of offer that is.
You
but
tell
the
us,
scenery was great. Okay, so now give the audience a synopsis of the story.
Chelsea, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. The story follows Danny and Marie, who it's not completely specified, but we know that they've lost a child and been through a lot of fertility treatments, and it's their dream to have a child, but conventional medicine is telling Marie to just give up. And in support of his wife, Danny finds this facility that does miracle treatment for fertility, or it's just something different that they haven't tried, and he thinks they should give it a shot. He just wants to give his wife like a little more hope, and that's where it begins. They come to the institute, and things are unconventional, to say the least.
Absolutely.
um, and the limits are test the boundaries of reality and their comfort level, and everything is unusual, and things go from there.
Wow, wow. So when you guys saw the movie for the first time, did you preview it with an audience, or how did you actually see the movie for the first time after it was completed?
Well, it's been when you work on a film, you watch it so many times, right? So the first time we saw it in the theater was for we had a private screening in
Hmm.
Manhattan, and so we got to finally see it in 4K on the big screen with like a studio, like a whole audience. So that was very gratifying. We did that the day before our release on the 21st, and so it was a very rewarding moment. The Q&A, seeing the way people react to it, and we invited all the cast and crew, producers, friends, family, whoever was associated with the film or into it, was there for that moment. So it was a big moment for me personally, working all these years and really wanting to be able to get to that level and finally having that moment. So it was a very, very big moment for me personally.
Hmm.
And Chelsea was there as well, of course, which made it all the better.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. So sweet. So what's next for you guys?
We've got a couple of projects, in the pipeline. We're still promoting the institute, still, pushing it, still have, a few more months of getting it through, all the way into Halloween. We're just going to be kind of like backing it up and looking for people's thoughts, and then I have two other films and two other, TV shows, like longer format projects that we're also shopping around, both in kind of in this same thriller vibe. And, just keep an eye out on Headless Films, and you'll stay up to date.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. And Chelsea, what about you? Are you going to be working with him on those new projects?
I am,
Reflection.
absolutely. Wouldn't have it any other way, Hamza.
Awesome. Awesome. Great answer. Great answer. So you guys have one baby?
Two. We actually had
Two.
two in the course of planning this, from like Hamza writing the first draft to our release. We had two children. in that span of time.
So
Two
do
children,
you
one pandemic.
right? That's what happens during the pandemic.
Yeah,
So do
not for nothing.
so do you think you guys kind of wrote some of yourselves in the script?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say, right? I mean, I always think about, my own situation and the realities of it and the people around me. So, I think your loved ones, your friends, your, people like they are always a part of your work. And that's why,
Right.
it's dangerous being friends with a writer because, any story you might tell them might end up in their work. I mean, yeah, they're going to change the name, but, there's, it's all fair game for nuggets and tidbits that you get. I mean, that's what you're mining as a writer, that's your gold. So I always, find myself putting people into it, especially like Chelsea and especially the story that was so, inspired by our personal journey. But, I don't think it was directly us because we didn't go through this kind of a process, right? We didn't have
Right.
that much trouble. I know people who have, and, I'm very sympathetic to them, friends of mine, family who've had much, much more difficulty than we did. And so it's amalgam of our journey, our story, our personality, and really just something completely unique and made up from the performers as well. They bring their own flavor to it,
Mhm.
and the edit process. It takes a village to put together a film. So I would say it's a whole bunch of kind of a melange of people that are flowing through these characters.
Nice. So what were your challenges?
Chelsea, you want to label some of them? We had a lot, not starting
Yeah,
with the
I mean,
pandemic.
it was definitely like, we kind of joke we're like, we both of us didn't go to film school, but we feel like we have now.
After this, huh?
Just in terms of what we've learned and the challenges that we had to troubleshoot along the way. I mean, probably the biggest, most obvious was the pandemic itself and navigating filming safely in that situation.
Mhm.
Um, and then, like another challenge that comes to mind is kind of course, like finance. Always like a big challenge for any film. It seems like at any budget level, but definitely for an indie. And like fortunately, we met some like incredible producers that could see Hamza's vision and supported us through it all.
That's cool. That's cool. So Hamza, what was your personal challenge throughout this whole thing?
It's hard to say just one because, as an indie producer, as an indie filmmaker, right, as an indie project, you have to wear so many hats.
Mhm.
So it's, not only do I have to keep my eye unerringly on people's performance, that's the number one thing, right? That's the director's job is to make sure the performances are good.
Mhm.
And then see it through the edit process, through post and delivery. But I was doing things like mowing the lawn at the location. Like we didn't have a whole ginormous crew. Really getting in there and getting your hands dirty. It's the only way to do it.
Right.
I realized that as a writer director, and you have your crew, and they may love film, but nobody loves the project as much as you do.
Right. It's your
Nobody wants
yes,
this
your
to happen.
project. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And, I didn't really come to me until we're there and, you do the 10-hour shoots and the 10-hour shoots and the 12-hour, it gets kind of burdensome to some people. And, that's why we really made sure to like put some days off in there. We all stayed at like a summer camp up here in like our little bubble and gave some
Mhm.
free, some free time, bonfires, some wine and let people have some R&R in the Catskills, getting away from this COVID, capsule that people were stuck in, a lot of them.
Right.
And, just tried to make sure we had the project in mind as well as keeping people's like mental health, you know,
Mhm.
assuaged during this delicate time, and not to mention on top of a feature. So it was a lot to handle, a lot to juggle, you know, worrying about many different things. So that's kind of the big challenge, is just kind of like, hey, how do you keep everybody moving in the same direction, sort of herding cats at the
Right.
same time as making sure you don't, like, take it too far, you're making sure people have, their own needs taken care of, that they're safe, everybody's comfortable, and then get the product done on time, with the shots that we needed to do. And especially when you have such a limited amount of days to do it, with the indie film, you don't have months and months to keep doing reshoots and come back and do this and that
Right.
and the other. It's like you have to get it done now. So it's like letting people do what they need to do, but then when it's time for action, you really have to focus. So that was kind of the main challenge, just
So
juggling
that
everything. Yeah.
that gave you time to bond, huh? When you were able to focus on things like that. So I think that
Yeah.
explains the gel, right? That you had that opportunity, and like I said, speaking with Victorya, she just, she said she started off with this, and then she ended up being in the film. And then she
Yep.
started off being another character, then she ended up being this character. So it was a lot of playing around with the different things. So I thought that was pretty cool. The opportunity. You think that you're going to be doing this, but then, Lord behold, wow, you're the right person for this. Because I would have thought that she would have been the first choice for the character that she played.
Well, it was always a thought. The thing was, she was coming in as a producer, and I thought of her, as a, you didn't want to give people too much to juggle, right? She helped with the casting, she was producing, and to perform. So, for a lead role, we thought, having somebody focus specifically on just the lead, because there's just so much work, so much pressure, so
Hmm.
much, you need to do to be able to pull it off. But we were really lucky that we were able to kind of work together and make sure that she, when she's acting, there was a couple of moments where she, tried to worry about production elements or the shots, and I'm like, listen, you don't worry about that. You have to trust me in these moments, and make sure that that I trust me that I'm going to ensure that you look good, that the cast looks good, that the performers are going to do their best job.
Right.
I'm your advocate behind the camera right now. You don't worry about any of that stuff, otherwise you're not going to be focused on this moment. So just be here now. Not to
Mhm.
get too hippie on this, but just be in this
Yeah.
moment, get this performance done, do your best job in this thing, because this is what's gonna, this is what's gonna last. You in this
Right.
performance, the image, the is gonna be what people see, what travels, throughout your life.
Right.
What you
I
did
mean,
behind the scene and a couple of inputs you gave on, an angle or this, that, and the other, no one's gonna ever know or worry
right.
about.
Right. Right. But yeah, like you said, her being out front, that really made the difference. So yeah, that was awesome. It was awesome. So you
Yeah,
guys,
she
I'm
was
really
game.
proud of the movie. I'm really proud of the movie. I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
mark it as much as possible because I feel like that should
uh
be like the number one indie of the year.
oh, yay, yay, thank you
So
so
it really
much.
was good. So is there any words of wisdom that you can give to our listening audience?
Chelsea, any advice for performers or just in general?
Just in general, trying to make film, you know, just if
Yeah,
somebody's
just
just interested in doing what you guys are doing, what type of
I would.
advice would you give?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's twofold, right? One, people might, if you're thinking you're going to just kind of dabble in film or you're not that into it, I think you may want to take a deep look inside, because it is a lot of work. This is 1,000 days of work. It's not like you can just kind of have some fun, show up, and and it's all roses and gravy. But if this is something you really, really, really want to do, you can't live without it. Just keep working at it. You're gonna find your way. You're gonna find a way to make a film. You're gonna find a way to make a bigger film and a bigger film and a bigger film. We made half a dozen shorts. We had half a dozen plays that we put on in New York. Before we got the opportunity to go to this level, and this is still just the first rung on the ladder. So you
Mhm.
just have to stay consistent and persistent, and know that it's not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Nice, nice. Chelsea, you got something you want to add? You're muted.
Probably because our kids in the back making a mess, screaming and like looking for attention.
Hey, we're a family
Yeah,
show. We don't care.
Awesome.
exactly right. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I would just, like if I had to give some advice, I would say, like producing film seems very like mystified, as does many things with like the film or entertainment industry. But there's really like not a lot of secrets, like like I kind of was a bit intimidated with, like, doing, everything new from like distribution, advertising and everything else. But, like if you just have to do it, I guess, but there really aren't too many secrets in general. Like it's all like available out there, and it's just a lot of work, like Hamza said.
So you guys had some taboo scenes in the movie. Was that hard? I'm not gonna say what the taboo scenes were, but was that, I mean, with the actors, was it hard to get them in that role, so to speak?
Well, Hamza.
So, this was my first experience with intimate scenes at that scale and, intensity. So I realized, part of being a director is, having no ego actually. And I realized this is not something I can pull off. It's not something that would be, I think, maybe as appropriate to like try to work with them at this level as a cast without having some experience behind you. So we brought in an intimacy coordinator, and she was kind of like our filter, and she built the narrative of the group kind of intimate exploration. And so I basically was kind of like knowing when to bring in an expert, the fight choreographer. We had a fight choreographer. For the intimate scenes, we had somebody that specializes in that and made them comfortable. Discussed this with me, of course. I kind of gave them the parameters of the story and what was needed. And she read the script and then talked to the actors, saw what they were willing to do, saw what they wanted to do, saw what they were comfortable with, brought that back to me so it could be anonymized, right? I can't. It's not like, you don't feel like the pressure, like, oh, I'm going to tell the director this or that. You tell what you really feel to the intimacy coordinator. She brings it back to me, and then I can know, okay, this is too far, or this is not far enough, or what they want to do, what they're comfortable with, and then really just let them go at it. They're professional actors. Every single one of them was experienced. So once the parameters were built and we had that time frame, it was like, hey, go ahead and let them do their job and let the intimacy coordinator make sure that they're feeling comfortable there and everybody, is feeling safe and feeling like, everything is kind of according to plan. It's not, it seems like the kind of thing where you do some improvisation, but there really is very little improvisation and those kind of scenes for the safety of the performers. Everything's kind of rehearsed, exactly what's going to happen. And that makes everybody much more comfortable in the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you guys, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the show.
Thank you so much.
Tell people how they can see it.
It's everywhere. Yeah. Amazon, every streaming platform, every cable provider, if you have like Spectrum or Fios or whatever it is, look on their VOD on demand. You can also get more information on our website, institutemovie.com. And, just appreciate if you can give us a good review on Amazon or Rotten Tomatoes. And we'd love your thoughts. You can reach out to us from our, Headless Films stuff, get us on social, we're around, and we really appreciate all the support. It's small films need big love. So
that's right.
Anything you can do is really appreciated.
Yeah, we will work together and we will try to get the word out there as much as possible. We're on a few new platforms, so which is pretty good. So like this show will be replayed on Amazon and on Roku. And so we'll get it out there as much as we can to help. And if you guys are ever in Virginia Beach, look us up. SKST Radio, baby.
I will. And remember about New York.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you hear that, Chelsea? He invited me, right?
Yeah.
So when I come with my bags, don't say, "Oh, I don't know who she is."
That's it.
Well, thank you guys. Y'all been the best. I appreciate your time. Last week, I apologize. I had no internet, so that was so bad. I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh my gosh." Well, I'm glad we made it happen. And you guys take care. And whatever we can do on our end to help you guys, just let us know. We're here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you. We really appreciate it. It was a pleasure. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.